As you know, President Trump has been barred from a lot of social media sites. Just curious whether you think his absence has made your job any easier or the White House's job any easier as it kind of goes forward on these COVID negotiations.
In what way?
He created a lot of noise, right? He would have certain gravitational pull with Republicans who may be more inclined to take a harder position. Wonder if that's been anything that you guys have thought about or kind of considered.
This may be hard to believe. We don't spend a lot of time talking about or thinking about President Trump here. Former President Trump, to be very clear. I can't say we miss him on Twitter.
Does President Biden support the continuing ban of President Trump on their sites?
I think that's a decision made by Twitter. We've former president on that front, I would guess. I haven't seen his tweet or however he's communicating these days. Go ahead.
Do you have a response to that? And does the White House have any concern that this new agreement might have President Trump back on the platform?
Well, I'm not going to comment on a specific transaction. What I can tell you as a general matter, no matter who owns or runs Twitter, the president has long been concerned about the power of large social media platforms, the power they have over our everyday lives, has long argued that tech platforms must be held accountable for the harms they cause. He's been a strong supporter of fundamental reforms to achieve that goal, including reforms to Section 230, enacting antitrust reforms, requiring more transparency, and more. And he's encouraged that there's bipartisan interest in Congress. In terms of what hypothetical policies might happen, I'm just not going to speak to that at this point.
Why do I find myself sitting here today disbelieving that President Joe Biden at any point in the last 15 months has taken any amount of time out of any day to look into reforms that need to be made when it comes to social media platforms and transparency? This is the same President Biden that just a few days ago could not properly identify the White House Easter Bunny. Good evening, Ape Nation, guys. What's going on? It is Tuesday, April 26, 2022. Now, look, the market was an absolute bloodbath today. The Dow fell another 800 points because the market is in serious fears of recession, inflation, you name it. And so I don't want to harp on terrible news. I want to try to pump a little bit of good news into what's going on right now with the whole Elon Musk situation and his purchase of Twitter and what that really means for us going forward and how it ties into what we're talking about with the fourth turning. All right, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
cue the speeder.
This is the way.
So I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but on Sunday night, my voice was starting to go. And I got a fever actually as well on Sunday night. Monday morning, yesterday, woke up, voice was completely gone. And I've just let it rest for the last 36 hours, hoping I don't lose it for multiple days. But I don't want to fall behind on work and the story. So I'm going to do this. And it might be shorter than normal, but I don't want to lose my voice and then I'll be out of commission. Okay, so first of all, let me just say congratulations to Elon Musk. No matter what you think of Elon, I think it was a good business move. If he can improve Twitter, maybe he can bring some value to the company. I definitely think he can. And I think that for the company itself, it's a good thing. If what his intentions really are to open up the lines of communication and also to ensure people that they can come onto this platform and speak their mind freely without fear of being canceled or doxxed or having their entire portfolio and career in social media just erased from the history books. And if that's what Elon's intentions are, I'm all behind it. Let's see what happens, how this plays out. And before we leave tonight, I'm going to get into the nomad archetype, the generation that Elon was born into, and how he is going to have an effect on the fourth turning. And we're seeing it live right now, I believe. Now, of course, not everyone is happy about this. Most major media outlets are having an absolute meltdown that Elon bought Twitter. And unfortunately, tonight, we are going to pick on one of my favorites, Miss Joyanne Reid from MSNBC, and her unbiased take on what Elon Musk buying Twitter means.
Anand, my friend, what does it mean for Elon Musk to privately own the town square?
It is specifically this particular kind of straw into the live consciousness of a very large chunk of humanity at all times. There's studies that have been shown that this power can be used to tilt elections if someone were to want to use it that way. And so what you're seeing right now, and I called it winners take all for a reason. This is the winners take all playbook. First, you just try to make money. That's the kind of foundational overriding goal. But if you just do that, you're going to have regulatory pressure. You're going to have people mad at you after a certain point. You're going to have all kinds of problems. And so what you do is you take the spoils of that money making and you buy political influence in Washington. You fund super PACs. You fund things like the Federalist Society, different approaches that you know well. And then you start investing in rigging the discourse. It's not enough to just rig law and policy. You want to rig the discourse. You want to make sure you control the terms on which people can talk back at you. Elon Musk lives in a world in which the only kind of free speech is white men feeling free to say whatever the hell they want. And what he doesn't understand, what a lot of those folks don't understand, is speech is actually freer when everybody not only has the opportunity to have an account and able to afford a phone to be able to tweet, but can feel safe, can know that they're not going to get harassed, can know that they're not going to get outed, can know they're not going to get piled on by the kind of astroturfed stands of some very rich man. And this future in which there would actually be more abundant and equitable speech terrifies the crap out of people like Elon Musk.
So that was Joyanne and MSNBC's hot take on Elon purchasing Twitter. And Elon came out with a tweet yesterday saying, "I hope that even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that is what free speech means." But I do find it hard to believe that Joy doesn't realize the man cutting her checks, Microsoft's Bill Gates, just happens to be another white male who owns a mega corporation, the one you currently are speaking on, that platform, MSNBC, Microsoft NBC. And that guy who's cutting you $10 million checks, I wouldn't expect you to be critical of him. Neither would I expect you to be critical of Jeff Bezos, another white male with unbelievably enormous amounts of wealth who controls the other town square in the nation's capital, the Washington Post. All right, so I promised you guys we'd talk about Elon and how he fits into the fourth turning. And I was planning on talking about this either, but he just happens to now be relevant in the media, why I rushed this video out. So the nomads and Generation X, now like 80 to 90% of you guys out there who are subscribed to me, as well as myself and Elon, are more than likely Generation X nomads, meaning we were born in some place or time between 1961 and 1981. There's also like a subgenre called Zennials, which is like another 5 years. So it actually goes up to 86 and kind of the birth of the internet and really people getting internet in their homes. And there's a lot of things in the book that the readers got wrong, right? I'm just pointing out some of the things they were correct about and historically have been accurate about and seems to line up with the evidence that we've looked at. Now, according to the book, Nomads and Generation X, the nomad generation grows and matures during a time of spiritual revolution, where changing ideals and spiritual agendas result in youth pushback against the established institutional order. These groups tend to be as underprotected, exposed children during this awakening, grow as rebellious teenagers, and come of age as isolated, security-focused young adults. Eventually, they come into some of the most pragmatic, realistic leaders in the post-awakening world. Now, it lists a couple examples here of nomad leaders such as George Washington, John Adams, U.S. Grant, Dwight Eisenhower, and Obama. It says, leading as focused, dedicated realists, this generation's leaders tend to be cunning, direct, and dedicated to fixing any problem they encounter. And it goes on, as both parents and political participants, they tend to be pragmatic and rely on their personal opinions over the directions of others. Sound familiar? Entering the workforce and leadership positions, this group appears less like victorious winners and more like survivors with an edge. I like that. That sounds good. seeking the corporate and familial safety they lacked as children. However, due to their position between two media-focused demographics, baby boomers and millennials, Forbes noted that this generation is often hailed as forgotten, but they are also well-positioned to become the wealthiest generation within the next few years. I love the end sound of that. All right, guys, and I think we should just leave it right there on a high note. The market sucked today. I hope this brings you a little bit of satisfaction, and we are coming into our crisis period. We'll break it down even further in more detail over the next few videos. Guys, thank you so much, as always, for all the likes, the views, the comments. My new subscribers, my OGs, I appreciate each and every one of you. We are here to break the wheel. This is Ape Nation. I'm the Massalorian, and I'm out.